Hello, everyone. I'm Anastasia, and joining me today is my co moderator, Irene. We're thrilled to be your guides for this exciting 50-day journey into software architecture. This channel is all about breaking down complex topics into manageable daily lessons to help you master the field. For today's session, we're diving into the basics, what software architecture really is, and why it's so crucial. Stick around because we'll share practical insights and tips that you can start applying to your own projects right away.
Absolutely, Anastasia. I'm excited too. We'll make sure each day builds on the last. So let's jump in.
Let's quickly outline how this course is structured to set your expectations. Over the next 50 days, you'll get bite sized lessons like this one, each running about 15 to 20 minutes to fit into your busy schedule. We'll build progressively from the fundamentals we're covering today all the way to advanced concepts. To make it interactive, we'll have Q&A sections in the comments where Irene and I will personally respond. Our ultimate goal is to equip you with the skills you need for designing real-world systems effectively.
Well said. And remember, viewers, your feedback in the comments will help shape our discussions.
You might be wondering what you'll need to get the most out of this course. No prior experience is required, just a healthy dose of curiosity to keep you engaged. That said, having some basic programming knowledge in any language will help you follow along more easily. Grab a notebook for jotting down notes and make sure you have access to online resources for further reading. Finally, to stay on track, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our daily uploads.
Great advice. Curiosity is key, and we'll provide links in the description for those resources.
Now, let's get into the core of today's topic, defining software architecture. At its essence, it's the high-level structure that organizes a software system, much like a blueprint for construction. It outlines the key components, how they relate to each other, and the principles that guide their interactions. Imagine it as the foundational plan for building a house. It ensures everything fits together seamlessly. The focus here is on making those big picture decisions that influence the system's entire life cycle, from development to maintenance.
Love the blueprint analogy, Anastasia. It really captures how foundational this is.
To appreciate where we are today, it's helpful to look at the historical context of software architecture. It really started evolving in the 1960s as systems grew more complex and needed better organization. Pioneers like Edsger Dijkstra emphasized structured design to manage that complexity. Over time, we've shifted from monolithic architectures, where everything is tightly integrated, to more distributed ones that handle modern demands. Understanding this history is key because it helps us avoid repeating past mistakes and build on proven ideas.
Exactly. Learning from history keeps us innovative without reinventing the wheel.
Breaking it down further, the core elements of software architecture include components, which are the modular parts like databases or user interfaces. Then there are connectors, which define how these components interact. Think of them as communication channels, such as through messages or APIs. Configurations refer to how all these pieces are arranged and wired together. Finally, constraints are the rules that govern the system's behavior, ensuring it meets requirements like performance or security standards.
These elements are the building blocks. Get them right, and the rest follows.
It's important to distinguish architecture from design, as they're often confused. Architecture deals with high-level, strategic decisions that shape the overall system. In contrast, design is more detailed and focused on how to implement those decisions within the code. Essentially, architecture sets the boundaries and framework, while design fills in the specifics inside those boundaries. There's some overlap, though both ultimately aim to create efficient, maintainable, and high-quality software.
Spot on. That distinction helps avoid common mix-ups in projects. Thanks, Anastasia. Now that we've defined it, let's talk about why software architecture is so important, which I'll be covering along with its role in scalability. First off, a solid architecture ensures your system's reliability and performance right from the beginning, avoiding costly surprises later. It also reduces long-term expenses by minimizing the need for major rework or fixes. Plus, it facilitates better team collaboration by providing clear structures everyone can understand and follow. Ultimately, it supports broader business goals like fostering innovation and enabling sustainable growth.
Couldn't agree more. It's the backbone for any successful software endeavor.
One major aspect of its importance is risk mitigation. Good architecture helps identify potential failures early in the development process, before they escalate. It addresses security vulnerabilities at the foundational level, building in protections from the start. Similarly, it tackles scalability issues proactively, so you're not scrambling when growth hits. And it promotes compliance with industry standards and regulations, keeping your system legal and trustworthy. Yes, catching risks early saves so much headache down the line. From a business perspective, software architecture delivers tremendous value by aligning technology choices with organizational objectives, ensuring tech supports strategy. It enables faster time to market for new features, giving you a competitive edge. Users benefit too, with more stable and responsive systems leading to higher satisfaction. Overall, it boosts return on investment by optimizing how resources are used, making every dollar count. Perfectly put, it's where tech meets business impact. Shifting gears to its role in building scalable systems. Scalability means your system can handle growth, like more users or data, without falling apart. Architecture is crucial here because it defines strategies like horizontal scaling, adding more machines, versus vertical, upgrading existing ones. It ensures effective load balancing and even distribution of resources across the system. Plus, it prepares you for future demands, such as sudden spikes in traffic during peak times.
These principles are timeless. Apply them and your system thrives.
To achieve scalability, follow key principles in your architecture. Modularity is essential. Break the system into independent parts that can be scaled separately. Aim for loose coupling to minimize dependencies, so changes in one area don't ripple everywhere. High cohesion means grouping related functions together for efficiency, and elasticity allows the system to auto-adjust resources based on current needs, like cloud services that scale up or down automatically. Scalability is a game changer for growing apps. Great overview. There are several architectural patterns that support scaling effectively. Microservices break things into independent, deployable services that can scale individually. Monolithic patterns keep everything in a single unit, which is simpler for smaller scales but harder to grow. Serverless architectures are event-driven and auto-scale without managing servers. Layered architectures separate concerns, like UI from business logic, making the whole system more manageable as it grows.
Choices like these depend on your project's needs. Wise selection is key.
Let's look at real-world examples to make this concrete. Netflix uses microservices to handle global streaming, allowing them to scale specific parts like recommendations independently. Amazon relies on cloud-based, elastic infrastructure that adjusts to shopping surges. Google employs distributed systems to manage billions of search queries daily without downtime. The lesson here is to adapt these patterns to your own project's context and needs.
Inspiring examples shows what's possible with smart architecture.
Of course, designing for scale isn't without challenges. Increased complexity comes with more parts, making management tougher. Performance bottlenecks can arise, so identify and resolve them early. Maintaining data consistency across distributed nodes is tricky but vital. And there's cost overhead. You have to balance scaling capabilities with efficiency to avoid unnecessary expenses.
Challenges are part of the process. Overcoming them builds expertise.
To tackle these, leverage tools and frameworks for architecture and scalability. UML diagrams are great for visualizing your system's structure. Cloud platforms like AWS, GCP, or Azure provide built-in scalability features. For deployment, Docker and Kubernetes handle containerization, making scaling smoother. Remember to start simple. Choose tools that match your project's size and avoid overcomplicating things.
Tools like these make implementation so much easier.
Here are some best practices to keep in mind. Document everything thoroughly, including decisions, trade-offs, and the rationale behind them for future reference. Iterate on your architecture as project needs evolve. It's not static. Collaborate early with stakeholders to align on goals. And test rigorously, especially for scalability under simulated heavy loads. Collaboration and iteration are my favorites. Teamwork makes the dream work. Watch out for common pitfalls that can undermine your efforts. Over-engineering creates unnecessary complexity for the problem at hand. Ignoring non-functional requirements, like security or performance, leads to vulnerabilities. Poor communication among teams results in misaligned implementations. And neglecting ongoing maintenance means treating architecture as set it and forget it, which it definitely isn't. Avoiding these pitfalls can save projects from disaster. Thanks, Irene. Let's wrap up with a quick recap of what we've covered today. We defined software architecture as the essential blueprint for any system, guiding its structure and decisions. We highlighted its importance in ensuring cost savings, reliability, and team efficiency. And we explored its critical role in creating scalable, future-proof systems that can grow with demands. The key takeaway? Investing in good architecture from the start drives long-term success in software development. Looking ahead, tomorrow's Day 2 will dive into understanding the key principles of software architecture, including modularity, separation of concerns, and the solid principles, building on today's foundation. For a bit of homework, reflect on a software system you've built or used. What do you think its underlying architecture was like?
If you have questions from today, drop them in the comments. Irene and I will be responding promptly. Thanks so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, share with friends, and subscribe for the full 50-day series. Support us on buymeacoffee.com.